Hello, A Day with Caleb. We are back. This time we're doing good third movies of a trilogy. So when you think of a trilogy, the third and last movie in that trilogy, was it good? This list covers quite a few of the good third movies, and we start with probably the best third movie out there, competing with its second title beneath it. But Toy Story 3 kind of wrapped up the perfect trilogy. Some argue, I would argue that as it being the perfect trilogy, the perfect ending for Andy, Woody, Buzz, the whole gang kind of wrapped it up in a bow beautifully. They were sent to play with a new kid and grow up with them. We did get a fourth one that does not diminish the fact that Toy Story 3 was a great third movie that leads us into Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Again, great third movie, wraps up that trilogy beautifully, and some argue this is the best of the three. I still like Two Towers the best, but that's my personal preference. Then Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, a great third film. Is it better than Raiders? Probably about equal, but probably not as good as Raiders. And I like the second one, Temple of Doom. Some don't. But Steven was kind of dealing with a messy divorce and all kind of personal issues, so that made that one a darker tone. Then Star Wars Return of the Jedi, I probably like Empire Strikes Back a little more, but a great third film, a great wrap up to that trilogy before we got the prequels, sequels, and then the sequels later when Disney bought Lucasfilms. The Bourne Ultimatum, I would probably say this is my favorite. Maybe the original, probably this one though. A great movie. This also got a fourth movie recently, but such a great third movie. Army of Darkness, wrapping up the Army of Darkness trilogy, and this one is my favorite of the three films. Directed by Sam Raimi. Got to meet him a couple years ago in Orlando. That was great. He signed my Spider-Man DVD. Be responsible, he wrote on there. But Army of Darkness, a great third movie in that trilogy. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly in the No Name trilogy, helmed by Clint Eastwood. Probably his most famous role, and the guy from The Holiday, I'm forgetting his name, was also in this. Tons of movies he's been in. Comment down below that man's name. It's escaping me, but he was in that as well. I just think back every time I watch The Holiday when he talks about that. Then Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban. Some say the best movie of the franchise. I was trying to think of a 8-film thing. You can't call it a trilogy, really, but this is a good third movie in that series. Kind of a darker tone. The first two kind of, we grew up kind of as we went along the films, but the third one, great movie. Back to the Future Part 3, This one doesn't get as talked about as the first two movies. I would still probably lean with part 2 as my favorite. But Western theme, talked about Clint Eastwood. He is mentioned, there's several elements that are great in this movie, and it wraps up the trilogy in a nice bow and sends it off with a bang, literally a bang. Then Before Midnight, this is the kind of trilogy Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, and Before Midnight, I believe, are the 3 movies. I believe they shot it every 10 years, each film, every 5 to 10 years, I believe. And this one was in the last 5 to 6 years, I believe. So I do have them. I did watch each one, and the third one is very great. Then Captain America Civil War. Still have Winter Soldier as my favorite, but this one right there with it. You have the introduction of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in this, Black Panther, several cool fight scenes, the airport battle scene, Bucky and Falcon in the car. That's great. There's so many good moments. A good third movie in the Captain America series. And then Thor Ragnarok. And talk about a turnaround. The first Thor, kind of a fish out of water story. The second one kind of tried to take us into like a dark, mystical realm, which didn't really translate well. You didn't really know the villain. And then the third film knocked it out of the water. Great comedy. Thor's character dialed in a little better. He could play around more. Then they absolutely destroyed all of that with Love and Thunder. Hopefully that gets a revamp. I guess every second Thor sequel they struggle with. But Thor Ragnarok, one of my favorite MCU films, right up there at the very top as far as which ones I go back to. Ragnarok, Guardians, the first one, Homecoming, even though that's kind of split with Sony and them kind of share those rights. Then we keep going down. But great film. Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favorite Die Hard movie. Bruce Willis teams up with Samuel L. Jackson, and they kind of get these tasks from Simon so he doesn't blow up more of the city. Meanwhile, Simon is collecting gold bullion at the bank, and it's just a great film. Actually was slated for a Lethal Weapon movie, if I'm not mistaken, but was turned into a Die Hard movie, I think, because they didn't want to do any more Lethal Weapon. I believe that is the case. Logan, of course, in the Wolverine trilogy, Wolverine, or X-Men Origins Wolverine, then we have Wolverine, then we have Logan, and has anybody seen the Old Man Logan graphic novels? Those are great with Hawkeye, him and Hawkeye, and then Hulk kind of as kind of a traveling buddy cop story. This, not as much in that realm. We did get X-23, which was great. She was also great in Deadpool and Wolverine. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. This is the third movie in the prequel sequels with Hayden. Great film, set up Darth Vader. We kind of finally see his origins, getting the suit out of the high ground. Still a classic line that people use 20 years later. It has stood the test of time. Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, and this one is Josh's favorite, I believe so, and this probably is my favorite. Right there with New Nightmare, this one kind of goes a little above New Nightmare for me. Great film, Patricia Arquette, I believe, correct? Then Avengers Infinity War, completing the third Avengers movie. Then we would get Endgame after this. Lots of great stuff going on with Infinity War. Lost my place. Oh, John Wick 3, a great third movie in that trilogy. Although there is a fourth one as well. That's a great movie too. But John Wick 3, really great action. They kind of use a style where they fight with guns instead of swords, if that makes sense. I saw on one of the behind the scenes where they kind of do jujitsu gun fighting, if that makes sense. War of the Planet of the Apes, a great wrap-up of that trilogy, although there is a fourth one now. Disney bought Fox, so technically a Disney film, but keeps the legacy of the first three movies. First one with James Franco, and the motion capture work of Andy Serkis. Met him, got him to sign my Lord of the Rings poster last year. Then National Lampoon's Christmas, probably my favorite, even though they did four. Technically, they did a fourth film, but that was just Vegas Vacation because they had lost the National Lampoon's name rights. So this one technically wraps up the trilogy, even though they got paid a buttload of money to come back for a fourth one. But this is great. Recently, they tore down the Christmas house, the Griswold house, which is unfortunate. But such a great movie, and probably the best of the Lampoon films. Such a great movie. Mission Impossible 3 is our last third good movie in trilogies, even though some of these are not quote-unquote trilogies because they either had a sequel after or there's like 8 films. But Mission Impossible, the first one, I remember we were at our granny's and we watched it on TV, grew up with the TV show, and didn't know Tom Cruise really. I think we had seen maybe Top Gun before this one, maybe a few others, but this one kind of locked us into the craziness and the action that is Mission Impossible. Great franchise now. There's more than 3, but then Ang Lee tried some of his magic, which probably didn't translate as good to American audiences. But then we kind of get jolted back into reality with Mission Impossible 3. Philip Seymour Hoffman, great. Then they set up a girlfriend, which follows in the subsequent sequels, which is great. They introduce new characters, Benji, of course, Ving Rhames from the beginning, and then a few others. Did they set up Jeremy Renner in this one or the fourth film? Comment down below. But that was our list of great third movies in a trilogy. Like, subscribe, share with the movie lover. Until next time, comment your favorite third movie of a franchise or trilogy. Until next time, watch those trilogy movies and keep collecting.